Level 1. The Lookout. You are 16 when the landlord comes knocking. 3 raps. A pause. 3 more raps. Your mother turns off the kitchen light. She tells you to be quiet. She will call the police if he knocks again. She works nights cleaning offices. She has a shift in the laundry tomorrow. The rent is still due. There's a glass jar on the table. $12.40 inside. This is what you have to last till Friday. Your best friend Marcus knows where you live. He tells you an older guy will pay you to watch the store while he's gone. You just stand outside. You call if you see the police. You know what happens inside, but you'll never touch the merchandise. You just stand and watch. And that's safe enough. You're outside for 2 hours. Your stomach lurches every time a patrol car passes. At the end of the night, the man who hired you gives you cash. It's more than your mother makes in a shift. You buy milk and rice and chicken, your mother's favorite cereal. She looks at the grocery bags on the kitchen table. "Where did you get the money?" she asks. "Marcus found me some work," you say. It's the first lie you've ever told her. And the food lasts for a week. When the landlord comes again, your mother pays him without complaint. You like the feel of that, the power it gives you. You return to the store the following weekend. Level 2. The Runner. You are 17 now. The older men know your name. They call because you show up, because you never ask questions, because you take what they give you and go where they tell you. They say you're smart, which means you do what you're told. Marcus works with you, but you're always on your best behavior. The two of you stop to eat cheap pizza on the steps outside his building. He talks about opening a recording studio. You want a house for your mother. Something small, but real. With a front door she won't be afraid to open. The money comes fast. You buy new shoes, a better television. You always tell her a different story. She wants to believe you, and so you do. One evening, 2 officers stop you. They check your name, your pockets. They find nothing. They let you go. Your knees are still shaking when you reach the corner. They're waiting for you to return. The men above you would have killed you in a heartbeat, but they'd have killed your mother too. And you know better. You quit the business the next day, but your mother loses her laundry job the same night, and your phone rings at dawn. Level 3. The Street Dealer. At 19, you stop doing jobs for people. Now they come to you. You work the streets where you used to play as a boy. Men who once ignored you now shake your hand. You know the respect is fake, and it doesn't matter anyway. You're buying your mother a new apartment, one with clean walls and a real heater. On the first night, she stands in the kitchen and cries. You tell her everything will change, and for a while, you believe it. One of the boys you know dies after buying from your crew. You stop walking past the park where he used to play with his little girl. But Marcus tells you it isn't your fault. He says the man made his own mistakes, and you begin to believe him too. Lena works at the pharmacy. She takes night classes. She thinks you're a mechanic, and you're good enough at lying that you almost believe it yourself. She likes the man you pretend to be around your mother, the way you cook on Sundays, remember birthdays, laugh more often when she's with you. At night, you're someone else. You think the 2 men could be enough, as long as nobody looks too close. Level 4. The Corner Boss. You are 21 when someone offers you a corner. It sounds like a joke, but you take the job anyway. It's really a promotion, and you're tired of waiting for someone else to give you an order. You stop telling people what to do. You start telling them when to leave, who to watch, who to take money from. And when the register is short, it's always your turn to make up the difference. You make more than the men who work for you, and you risk less. You wait in a heated apartment instead of standing in the rain. It doesn't bother you. You were standing in the rain when you were their age. You think it's fair. One of the boys is arrested, 17 years old. His mother calls, thinking you're his friend. But you change your number the next day. You never tell her where to find him. Marcus asks why you left the boy on his own. You tell him he knew the risks. He should have thought about his future. It's the first time he's ever stood up to you. He does it in the street where everyone can see him. So you lower your voice when you say it. You don't want anyone to know how embarrassed you are. You hate the way he makes you feel. But you still think it's true. And you do it anyway. Level 5. The crew leader. At 24, you have your own crew. Men who work for you. Some who are almost your age. One of them asks for a job. But it's winter. The 16-year-old boy is wearing a thin jacket. His mother needs medicine, he says. You think of the first store, and the boy who stood in the rain beside you. You could tell him to go home. You give him a job instead. It's a chance, you say, and the men who used to watch you repeat the word like a prayer, as if it means something different now. Marcus tells you the business has changed you. He says it's always been full of bad men, but now you're one of them. For a moment, you're angry enough to tell him the money tastes better when you earn it. But that makes him angrier. He leaves the crew the same night, telling you he only wanted the money. You never forgive him, but you let him walk away anyway. 3 weeks later, he's dead. You hear the news before sunrise, but for the longest time you sit on the edge of your bed and do nothing. At the funeral, his mother takes your face in her hands. She tells you Marcus always called you his brother, and you can't look at her. You tell Lena he was in the wrong place, but the lie is worse than the truth. Later that night, you could have left. You could have taken her with you, but instead you decide Marcus died because he wasn't strong enough, and you begin to think of his death as a kind of challenge. He wanted you to stop. Level 6. The Distributor. You are 27 when you leave the corner for the first time. You still work the streets, but now you deal with the people who own them. The few customers who know your name are usually surprised to see you. It's safer that way. There's less of a reason to stand in the rain, but it's hard to forget the faces of the men who used to watch you from behind the windows. The way they wasted their lives. Now you watch numbers on a page. You listen to reports over the phone. And when someone dies, you may never hear about it at all. You marry Lena in a small church. Your mother sits in the front row. Marcus should be there too. You think about him when the photographs are being taken, and you promise yourself he'll always be your brother. Lena knows you're not really a mechanic, but she doesn't ask. She's learned the questions can ruin dinner. You have a bigger apartment now. Lena says she wants to live a normal life before it's too late. But you tell her the business is almost over. She believes you. She's heard the words before. You have enough money to walk away, enough men to keep you safe. But it's harder to leave than you expected, and so you stay. You stop telling yourself it's for your mother. Level 7. The Supplier. At 29, other men are waiting for your calls. You meet people who think of themselves as businessmen, and you still look the part of the boy who used to watch the store from behind the glass. Your mother tells you she thinks you're tired, but it's hard to look exhausted when you haven't done anything. Lena becomes pregnant that year. For a while, it's enough to change the way you think about everything. You stop working late. You leave your phone in the other room when you come home for dinner. You begin to look at houses in nicer parts of town. Grace is small enough to sleep across your arm when she's born the following year, and you promise yourself she'll never know what it is you do. You mean it, really, but the words are barely out of your mouth when your phone vibrates beside Lena's hospital bed, and you step into the hallway before you answer. Your promise is less than 24 hours old. You buy a house with a high fence and cameras at the gate, a room for Grace and a garden for Lena. But your mother refuses to move in. She says the guards make her nervous. You tell her they're there to keep everyone safe. She looks at the locked doors. Safe from what? You say nothing. It's the house you always wanted, and nobody knocks on the front door anymore. But when someone does come looking for you after dark, every person inside stops talking. Level 8. The boss. You are 35 when other bosses work for you. You spend less time on the streets, but you think about them often. A single call in the dead of night can bring an arrest or a death. Grace is 6. She knows not to go near the rooms where the phones are kept, but she still asks questions. Why can't my friends open doors? She thinks about it, then says, I guess your family needs more protection. You tell her that's a good way to think about it. One winter, your mother falls ill. You pay for a private doctor and a nicer room, but money is the only thing you know how to give. You visit as often as you can, and you always say you're coming tomorrow. She dies before one of those tomorrows arrives. At the hospital, a nurse hands you a plastic bag. Your mother's clothes, her glasses, the keys to her apartment. And you realize she never moved in with you. That was the last place she knew. The last place she was safe. At the funeral, Marcus's mother sits near the back, but she leaves before you can find her. You pay every bill your family ever had. Lena sleeps in the other room. And Grace watches you like a stranger. Level 9. The Kingpin. You are 42 when the newspaper prints the word Kingpin next to your picture. It's an old photo. Grace finds it on the internet at school. She is 13. She asks Lena what it means. Lena tells her to ask you. She waits until dinner. Then she slides her phone across the table. She turns the screen so you can see the words. You tell her the story is wrong. You say the police always need someone to blame. She wants to believe you, and for a moment you think it might be enough. She is young, but she knows the truth, and you're angry enough to tell her again anyway. The men beneath you know your name, but they never meet your eyes. Younger dealers talk to you without ever looking at your face. They ask for permission to move their people. They take what you give them, and some of them want your job. You trust one man more than the others, the one who eats with you. Your daughter makes birthday cards for him when he leaves, but the police find him first. And when he chooses himself, you stop trusting anyone at all. The raid comes at dawn. You wake to 3 sharp knocks, a pause, then the sound of your front door being forced open. Lena lifts Grace from the bed. You watch the lights sweep across the walls, the men in the hallway, and for a moment, you're 16 again. The kitchen is dark. Your mother is telling you to be quiet. The landlord is outside. It won't be enough this time. You watch your hands as they tie your wrists behind your back. Grace sees you on the floor. She doesn't cry, and that hurts more than if she had. As they lead you away, you look back at the cameras and the high fence. You think about the girl who used to live behind them, and you realize they were never meant to keep you safe either. Level 10. The Prisoner. You are 55 when a steel door opens for you each morning and closes each night. The time has been long enough to forget the future you imagined for yourself. The business goes on without you, and most of the men you trusted find new ones. Lena divorces you the year before your 2nd birthday. Her letters grow shorter and more distant, until they stop. Grace visits once, when she is 16. She sits behind the thick glass. She holds the phone to her ear. She asks only one question, and you are surprised. You know how to say yes, and make it sound like the truth, but you've never been very good at it. Was any of it worth more than us? She is an adult now. In one picture, she holds a little boy who has never heard your name. Some nights you think about the grocery bags on the kitchen table and the way your mother opened the door when you paid the rent. That was all you wanted, really, and all you needed. And everything else was meant to keep her safe. Instead, she feared every knock. Lena learned the same lesson, and Grace grew up behind cameras and locks. You kept telling yourself the next step would be enough. And it wasn't. Now there is nothing left to fear, and nothing left to call your own. One evening, someone knocks on the wall that separates you from the next cell. A new prisoner has arrived. He is 19, and angry. He tells everyone who will listen that he only wanted to help his mother, that he will be smarter next time, that he wants to work for himself when he gets out. You have heard the words before. You think of Marcus, and of Grace, and of the girl who used to live behind the high fence. You want to tell the young man to be careful, to remember everything he learns. But the lights in the corridor go out. You place your hand against the wall. The boy keeps talking. And you think about the next time you see your daughter. And somewhere, it's starting again.